value from success, growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen from thetechnicaltraders.com. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Chris, what's going on with gold right now?
Gold, well, this week it's been a roller coaster ride. I don't think it matters what asset class you're in. There has been some wild moves with the election and then everyone being all positive coming out of the weekend. And then we have this vaccine hit. And, of course, vaccine news that is good, like we had with Pfizer, it sent metals into a free fall. And so with silver, precious metals, and simply because, hey, if we can negate COVID, businesses can go back to normal, people can start traveling, and everyone starts to see light at the end of the tunnel. So it was a massive rally yesterday in stocks, everyone getting excited for not wearing masks and for business to come back and travel. Yet, of course, they're going to dump the things that when they're not worried, they get rid of their defensive assets, which are gold, silver, miners, bonds. And so that's what we saw. Big move out of those sectors. Now, I think it's very reactionary. I think it's overdone to the downside. Gold down over 5% yesterday. Silver 7.5%. Gold miners down about 8%. Huge move. Again, it was a big move based on news, and that means it's probably an overreaction. And all the markets there in the precious metal area, they're all trading down at a support level. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this recovers. But the reality is, even with the vaccine, this is something that's going to take months, if not year or longer, to actually bring into the marketplace, get enough to actually give to people and start to knock COVID out of the system. So we're a long ways away from that. It's good news, but I think it's a big surge of just emotional people getting really excited and jumping in one direction, which is long stocks.
And there's also a long haul here. I haven't heard anyone say, oh, a vaccine is going to instantly turn the economy around.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing is, too, on top of that is they're already talking about, and I don't know how true this is, I don't follow it very closely, but I keep seeing it across random news lines, which is that it's already mutated in one country and it's not the same anymore. So if it is like a normal flu, which I think it is, in the respect that it can mutate, and the vaccine they have right now will not work for the new strain that comes out in 6 months or a year, that's going to be a continual issue. So that is another big thing that I think that people don't really think about. I think COVID could be here to stay, and it's going to be this constant. Everyone will want to get vaccinated for this, because this is, I think, much worse than the standard flu, obviously. So it's not going to be gone. It's just nice to know that there is something that works 90% of the time if you do get it, or to help prevent it.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. There's a European strain and an Asian strain, and apparently the European strain is a lot worse.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
So, yeah, like so many other things, vaccine will be permanent, and there will be people who will use it and people who won't, and people have probably good reasons for both. Taking a look at the miners, does that mean that they're a good bargain now, or should you lay off a bit?
Well, when you look at the big picture, like a weekly chart of it, the chart pattern for precious metals and miners are still very bullish. They broke out last week, and last week it broke out and closed with a very strong kind of price action, because on the daily chart for short-term traders, it had broken resistance and started to rally. And so a lot of short-term traders piled in, and it also closed at a level on the weekly chart where big position traders and investors would see this price action as a real legitimate breakout. And you need the close of the week to more or less signify, hey, it closed up here on the weekly chart. It's a weekly chart breakout. And so we saw people piling in at the end of the day or the second half of the session when everyone was convinced it was going to hold the breakout. And obviously this news was a shock to the system that sent them back down. But when you look at gold, silver, and miners, they're really pulling back to support. The miners are holding up much better than metals themselves, and they're down at a support zone. So at this point, I think we're a little oversold. I still think they are a strong buy, but we do need to see traction in the miners over the next week or so. If they do break the lows from October, then I don't think you really want to be involved in them because money might just keep piling into the regular stocks and not the defensive metals. But at this point, they've pulled back. They broke out. They pulled back. And this is actually an opportunity, if you're not in, to get in with a low amount of risk.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, what's going on with the Russell 2000?
Yeah, there's some very interesting price action going on. I haven't really covered the Russell 2000 in a long time because the reality is, back in late 2018, it topped out and it has been trading sideways and lower ever since. It's pulled back over 45% from the highs in 2018. It's been making lower highs and lower lows, which is the definition of a downtrend, and a correction that big is obviously a bear market. So small cap stocks have been out of favor, but what we saw this week is that the Russell 2000 finally broke to all-time highs, which is really significant because they have been out of favor for years, forming a big consolidation, a big pause, and the pattern is a multi-year pattern, meaning, hey, maybe the Russell 2000 is going to become one of the leading stock markets again. They used to be. They fell out of favor for a long time. NASDAQ kind of took over. But now we're seeing a total different story. We are seeing money rotating pretty big out of the NASDAQ. It's down almost 2% at one point today. Russell 2000 up almost 2% today. So a 4% spread between those. On the vaccine news on Monday, we saw the Russell 2000 rally 7%. Money is moving into these small caps, the growth and value stocks that are beat up and been out of favor. And this could be the start of a new bull market in these small cap stocks. Stock trading could become really good if this is a new bull market for this sector. And I think the Russell 2000 could give the NASDAQ a really good run for its money because the reality is the NASDAQ, the tech stocks are, in my opinion, way overvalued. The PE ratios are way out of whack. It was a crowded trade. It was the only thing really ripping to the upside, so everyone piled into tech. But now it's like, whoa, the Russell 2000, 2,000 small cap stocks that a ton of them are a great buy. They've gone nowhere for 2 years. The chart patterns are pointing to lots of energy to pile in and push the price higher of that index.
Is one of the reasons for that because it was so ignored and low valued that people are saying there could be a lot of value here because the big name stocks on the NASDAQ are really unaffordable for most investors?
Yeah, well, we've gone, 2 years of sideways and lower prices for all those companies while a lot of them have been growing and doing exceptionally well. They just have not been getting any love or attention. So now it's just at a point where, hey, they're breaking out and people are going to be like, whoa, stock trading is coming back. We're going to see a lot of these small cap stocks that move very fast. A lot of these are like high beta stocks, meaning If the stock market moves 1%, some of these 2, 3, 4, 5 beta stocks will move like 5% higher while the stock market moves up 1%. So we're coming into potentially a prime time here where there's going to be a lot of these explosive small cap stocks to be trading going forward.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlan, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, is anything happening with natural gas right now?
Yeah, natural gas is, it's trying to form a major bottoming formation. Every few years we have a major bottom low, and I feel like it has put that in. Now it's trying to get some traction and build a base to rally, and it is rallying. When you look at the continuous contract of natural gas, it's in a strong uptrend. It's moving higher. The only catch here is it's very tough to trade natural gas if you are an equities trader, meaning you need to follow it with the natural gas ETN like UNG. And if you were to actually pull up UNG and the natural gas contract beside each other, they're actually going in very different directions. The ETF is moving down, the ETN dramatically, while futures are going higher. And that's because it's got contango, it's rolled into front month future contracts that aren't valued as much. So I like natural gas, but is there a really good way to play it at this point? Not yet. It's just going to be a very tough trade. I mean, if you trade natural gas stocks, that's probably the easier way at this point to try and take advantage of natural gas prices. You don't really want to be touching the futures because natural gas is known as the widowmaker. It moves fast, and you do not want the leverage that futures give you. So getting into natural gas equities, they'll move more in sync with natural gas than the actual ETFs, I think.
What about crude?
Well, crude oil actually last week it started to form a really nice pattern in the energy sector in general. Crude, huge rally this week. It was up 11% on Monday off the vaccine news. Obviously, if business can start back up, COVID's going to go away. People can start traveling to work. People can start traveling for meetings and to get out of the house and go on a holiday. So people are buying up crude oil. It's rallying because, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We might start to be able to move around this world again and not be in fear of COVID. So it's doing really well. Last week I talked about the oil services ETF, OIH, and how it formed a beautiful bottoming formation on the daily chart. All the signs were there that it was on the verge of breaking out, and then Monday it broke out and it rallied like 20% at the high on Monday. So huge breakout. The problem is the news that hit this week, everything opened sharply higher, and it makes it really difficult to want to trade this move. If you were to look, if anyone pulls up the SPY ETF, you'll get a good idea of what's going on, which is the stock market opened up high at 9:30, and then it sold off all day, and it's selling off again on Tuesday. It's called a pop and drop. It can also be seen as a major reversal to the downside. And so this is my concern is we have this big push up with the presidential election the last week there. We have this vaccine, which has created this almost exhaustion gap to the upside in stocks, and now things are reversing. And my concern is the first initial impulse when you have big news is usually in the wrong direction the trend is going to go. So my fear is the SP 500 shows it declares that we could actually see continued selling for a few weeks, and this market kind of shakes things out before it goes higher. And I think a lot of people are in the boat that they think stocks are going straight up from here and they're going to keep going. But I don't think that's the case. I think we're going to see some pullback and struggle for a little while. I do like stocks long term, but the way they gapped higher today or on Monday, we really need to kind of let it cool down a bit and get a feel for that type of kind of overreaction.
Any thoughts on the cryptocurrencies?
Well, we've seen Bitcoin have a really nice run over the last few weeks. It kind of blew through that. It was stuck under $14,000, which was a previous high from last year. And it finally ate through that resistance. It took several days, and then boom, it popped up to 16,000. It's consolidating now at about 15,500, and it still looks like it wants to go higher. It still has very bullish price action, and obviously stimulus printing. I think it's acting kind of as a safe haven play against currencies. It's moving higher, and it's starting to hit the media. A lot of people are talking about Bitcoin again. So I think we're going to go right back into one of those stages where everyone wants to own Bitcoin. We hear it on the radio, and we could very easily hit that $20,000 mark from here. I think the next stop will be around about 17.5 if it can have another push higher. That's what the short-term charts are showing. But I'm not a huge crypto fan, but it is in an uptrend. It's pointing to higher prices, and it's starting to get lots of excitement. And when everyone gets excited, that's usually right when a top comes in. So we're getting close to that point. But these last-minute moves where it really goes parabolic, it can cover a lot of ground in a few days to the upside before reversing.
Yeah, well, I remember it hitting $20,000 on my birthday 4 years ago. So it's not a hard date to remember. And what happened, and everybody at the birthday party was saying, oh, you better get your Bitcoin. And right after that, it plummeted like a jet with the engines full on in a full dive.
I know. I remember the same thing. I was at a New Year's Eve party, and everyone was talking about it, and people were so excited. They were like, watch this. And they'd go and they would buy it on their phone, some Bitcoin. And these are like much older people than I am. They're seniors, and they're doing it on their phones, which I'm like, I struggle to buy crypto just because I'm not into it. But I was like, this has got to be a top. And of course it had topped. That's when it topped. It just blew my mind how everyone was doing it to that extreme.
And we're also hearing more about crypto scams as well. Give me $300 and I'll make it $3,000 in a couple of weeks, but the next thing you know, your $300 is gone, and so is the guy who sold you the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Hey, thanks, Jim. We'll talk to you soon.
My guest has been Chris Vermeulen from thetechnicaltraders.com. If you have any questions for Chris or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet. We're also on Facebook. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.